The Australian government is preparing for Donald Trump's return to the White House, with many wondering what his second term in office will mean for our country. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was quick to congratulate the President-elect by phone, saying that he looks forward to working together to strengthen the long-standing alliance that the two countries have. So how will this relationship change over the next 4 years? Well, for their take, let's bring in Education Minister Jason Clare and Deputy Opposition Leader Susan Lee. Welcome to you both. OK, Jason, under the ANZUS Treaty, we expect America to come to our defence if we have a threat from a foreign country. Given Trump is isolationist, he's been very forward through his whole campaign that he's going to put America first, are you confident that that treaty would hold up?
Oh, absolutely. You know, AUKUS is one of those examples where Labor Party, Liberal Party, Democrats and Republicans are all on the same page, all working together. When the legislation went through the American Congress only a couple of months ago, it was bipartisan in its support. Democrats and Republicans both backing this, because I think both countries understand it's in our mutual interest.
All right, Susan, Malcolm Turnbull has said that the way to work with Donald Trump is to, quote, do not suck up. Of course, he's referring back to his 2017 phone call, that now infamous phone call that he made where he discussed a controversial refugee resettlement plan. How do you think is the best way to deal with the incoming president? Is it to not suck up and stand your ground?
Mon, close personal relationships between leaders are absolutely vital, and I think experience demonstrates that, including how well we worked with President Trump in 2018, particularly over the tariffs issue. We've congratulated the President-elect. We know that when the US is strong, the world is at its best. A new president does bring a different focus, but the fundamentals don't change, and a strong United States is good for our security, for national security and for our own economic security.
Jason, will your government, though, be starting on the back foot, though, with that relationship, given the comments that have resurfaced that the Prime Minister has made about Donald Trump and also our Ambassador Kevin Rudd? It's not a great starting point.
No. The Prime Minister spoke to the President
don't think Trump would care?
Yesterday. No, think about this. The person that Donald Trump has selected to be his Vice President has said stronger things about him than anyone in Australia. The PM and the President had a chat yesterday. It was a really good conversation, just like every Prime Minister and every President has worked closely together since John Curtin and Roosevelt. This will be a strong relationship as well, in our mutual interest. And just like Anthony Albanese has strengthened our relationships with other countries around the world, he'll work to strengthen our relationship with our closest ally. OK, let's move back home now. A special National Cabinet meeting will be held today. That is to discuss laws to ban Aussie kids from under the age of 16 from social media. Jason, of course, the onus will be on your government to ensure that this is workable. What is your plan to get that done? Because it is really tricky. Well, it's really important. You know, anyone that's watching at home that's got kids at high school or even kids at primary school knows the damage that social media has done, wants to get our kids out of the cesspit of social media. Legislation will be introduced before the end of the year to set that minimum age at 16. Whenever I talk to young people at high school, they back this as well. They think that this would be good for their mental health. We already have got mobile phones out of schools. That's meant that young people are more focused in the classroom, having more fun in the playground. They're not sort of doom scrolling in the playground.
Think we all agree with that. I've got 4 teenagers in my house.
Well,
they're much smarter than any of us.
Yeah,
They're going to get around whatever kind of ban is there. So
I think that's right. And, you know, there's a minimum age of 18 for alcohol. Doesn't mean that young people don't get access to alcohol.
That's right. It's sending a message.
But it sends a message, and it'll mean that there's a lot more young people who don't have their heads filled and their hands, you know, holding all of this, you know, damaging social media.
OK. Susan, I'm just wondering whether we really need to be going to the source, turning off the tap, if you like, and trying to improve the type of content that's on social media.
This is so important, Mon, and Peter Dutton and the Coalition proposed it 5 months ago. I'm glad we're getting there. For us, the safety of kids online is vital, and of course across the Parliament. Thank you to some of the social media companies for stepping up and doing the right thing. I'm hearing that there might be a couple of loopholes in the legislation. I hope there isn't. This needs to be clear. It needs to be unequivocal. It doesn't matter who is offended by this. We have to get it right. And Jason Jason mentioned young people. Similarly, I had a round table of school kids in Albury and they all agreed. And I thought in a room full of that age group, a few might be a bit unhappy, but they weren't. The kids understand that for the kids to be all right, we have to get this right.
Yep, they get it and they're totally obsessed and addicted to it, as we all know. All right, Jason, Susan, thank you both. Happy weekend.
Thank you.